It was evening, and all that Johnny could see were the lights in the houses. He was still sitting in the park, sitting on the running board of the roundabout, just slowly pushing it around with his foot on the ground. He was not a happy boy. His friends had all gone home. The day had started well. His mother had made him a boiled egg and buttered soldiers for his breakfast, his favourite. And he'd been allowed to help her mix the cake for the birthday party. And after that, he had gone out to play. Where Johnny lived, it was safe for children to play together on the streets and in the parks. He had had an argument with one of his friends and had run away from them. He had been so angry at the time and so upset that he had run away and hidden in some bushes close to the play area. His friends had carried on playing without him, and hours had gone past. Everyone had gone home to their tea now. Johnny had come out of the bushes and sat on the roundabout. He couldn't really remember what the row was about, but he had felt embarrassed and didn't know how to go and rejoin his friends. He knew he ought to be going home now, but something stopped him. It all felt too hard. There he sat, gently spinning round, when above him, in the darkening sky, appeared a light. It was a soft yellow light. It was not something Johnny had ever seen before, and he couldn't make out what it was. It wasn't an aeroplane. It was the wrong colour. And besides, it seemed to be coming downwards and getting brighter. He wondered if it was a spaceship. He had been reading about those earlier in the week, and he thought that would be rather good if it were. But it wasn't. It wasn't a spaceship, and it wasn't an aircraft. It was a bright yellow balloon with a tiny little basket suspended underneath it. And it was just glowing with this yellow light. And the balloon and the basket descended until they were about 30 centimetres above his head, and the light from the balloon fell all round Johnny. And he felt warm and not so upset. In fact, not upset at all. He wanted to see what was in the basket, so he reached up. But as he reached up, the basket moved out of his reach. So he moved his hands down again. And this time, the basket slowly circled around his head and then came lower and lower until the basket was just in line with his eye, about 30 centimetres away, so he could see right into the basket. And what do you think was in the basket? It was a fairy. Dressed in a beautiful glittering yellow dress, she had long blonde curls and a wand. Yes, she really had a wand. Johnny looked at her, and she looked at him. She spoke first and said, "Bet you don't believe in fairies, do you?" He said, "It's a bit of a girly thing to believe in fairies." "Oh, is it?" said the fairy. "If it's just a thing for girlies, why are you talking to me then?" He was silent for a moment, and then laughed. And she giggled too, and said, "My name is Susie, and I saw from a long way up that you were not happy today. I've been watching you most of the day." He looked crestfallen, embarrassed even. He said, "Yes, it's not been a very good day. It did start off well, but it hasn't ended very well." She said, "I know. It's really time for you to go back for your tea now." And he said, "Yes, my mother will be getting worried." "I'll come with you if you like," she said. And he said, "That would be good." As they walked back to his house, she asked him questions, and he told her of his life, of his mum and dad, and his brother and sister, and his dog, and of school, and of holidays, and of his friends. And as he talked, the yellow light still stayed round him, and he felt happier and happier. As they were getting closer to his house, he asked her, "Where have you come from, and why have you come to see me?" And she said, "I'm your fairy godmother. I may be tiny, but I'm powerful. And all you need to do when you're upset or angry or afraid is to think of me. Think of my yellow light. And even if you can't see me, I won't be far away, and I'll be looking out for you." And with that, the basket rose up until it was very close to his head, and she just touched the top of his head with her wand. And he could feel a warmth throughout his body, and it seemed to replace all those feelings of anxiety and nervousness and anger with a feeling of calm happiness. And he smiled at her, and he said, "I'm sorry about earlier. It's not just for girlies. And I'm really, really pleased to have you as my godmother, my Susie godmother." She said, "It is my pleasure. Now go in for your tea and be a good boy. See you again. Bye now, Johnny." "Bye, Susie godmother." And the golden balloon rose higher and higher until it was completely out of sight. And as Johnny touched the top of his head, he could feel that warmth spreading through his body again, and he smiled and went in for his tea. The end.